I've been asked to do a short video on dopping. There are many ways to dop stones, in other words, to attach them to a stick or other cylindrical object like a nail, in order to get better control. I have large fingers and I can't manipulate small stones with my fingers, so it requires a dop stick. My fingers aren't that large. Most people need dop sticks at some point if you're going to cut opal. I use this green dopping wax. The ingredient in dopping wax that supposedly makes it stick to the stone is shellac. I'm sure there are other long chain hydrocarbons in there that are also sticky, and tar is a good example. I mean, I'm not saying there's tar in this, but long chain aliphatic hydrocarbons can be sticky. Anyway, this has the lowest melting point of the different types of sealing wax used in dopping. They also come in red and brown, and I believe I have it correct that green is the lowest melting point, red is higher, and brown is even higher than that. I've used red once. It was unnecessary. Things got pretty hot pretty quick. So this is what I use. The next question is, what do you use as a dop stick? I encourage you to look at other videos and maybe do some reading on other methods of dopping. People use ordinary nails with Elmer's glue and other types of glue, and so I encourage you to look at those. Like I said, I use sealing wax, and the dop sticks that I use for small stones like this are these. These are 1/8 inch, and these are 1/5 inch. Let me explain. The most efficient way, the cheapest way to get dop sticks, which are about 4 inches long, is to buy dowel material. It comes in from I think 1/16 inch all the way up to 2 or 3 inches. These are the ones. These are 1/5 of an inch. They're not 1/4, but they're 1/5. And this is a nice little secret for you for those who dop and use relatively small stones. Here it is. These are actually chopsticks. These can be bought on Amazon, 100 pair for just under $8. These are a little bit less than 8 inches long. I cut them in half, and the advantage is that you get two nice ends on one of the two that you cut in half, but on the other end you've got a 1/5 of an inch, and then you've got a much smaller one from the pointed end, and that can dop smaller stones while still giving you a lot of control. When I'm using larger stones, these are both matrix stones. One has not been polished and the other has been domed and polished. It's not the best matrix in the world, but it's already done. I use larger sticks. This is a 1/4 inch. Okay, I promised 3 big secrets in dopping, and the first was chopsticks. The second big secret is right here. This is I believe 1/16 inch thick. It's about 1 foot by 2 feet. I bought this at Lowe's for under $10. The heat source that I use for melting the wax, this is clay or super sculpey. I use methanol. Ethanol will work fine. Try to get 90%. You can get that at any pharmacy. you can get methanol online. There are mixtures of methanol and ethanol. They work fine. If you get high concentration, like 90% isopropyl alcohol, I'm sure that would work fine as well. If you want, you can use 151 rum and dop one, drink one, dop one, drink one. I don't know, 151 rum is 75% alcohol, and so I'm afraid you won't be able to use bourbon or vodka unless you have Everclear. Everclear would work fine. Everclear is 90% or 95% alcohol. Anyway, let's not get distracted. This is the alcohol lamp that I use. I use it so that I can tip it. When I tip it over like this, so that when I heat the dopping wax, and some will invariably drip down here. That's one of the reasons to have the stainless steel or chrome-plated steel, is because it doesn't stick very well to this. I think that using it at a tilt is the best way to do it. There is one that's made of glass. Here's a picture of it. This does lean over at an angle, and these work very well, but the problem is, you notice the cap is very shallow, and the alcohol tends to evaporate out with that cap that doesn't seal very well. Okay, now I'm going to go through the dopping procedure. I've selected one of my 1/8 inch diameter dowels, but I will light it. It's very difficult to see the flame. The flame is, in this particular case, is orange, and it extends right to there. I'm heating this up. The highest point of the flame is always the hottest. It's boiling. And now I'm going to take it and put it on the stainless steel sheet and mold it. So I don't have to use my fingers. You can, once it gets cool, you can do that. I did that just to take the residual and get rid of it. Now I'm going to add more wax. I'll hold the stick up and move it around. It melts pretty quickly when it's in the flame, and I just take a blob of it off. Now I'll go back into the flame, and you can see it heats up very quickly. And now this is where the magic of the stainless steel comes into play. So I've made this perfectly. The next step is to heat up the stone. I've found that the hotter the stone is, the better the dopping wax holds to it. And I've also found that opal can tolerate quite a bit of heat. Results may vary, so be careful. I use some forceps to hold it. This is the side that I'm going to attach it to, 100 or more degrees, and this is plenty hot now. So this is the polished side. So this is the side that I'm going to top, is the reverse. Now I've put it on the index card so it doesn't cool down while I heat the dopping wax to boiling. Sometimes it falls off. Then I attach it. I've attached it to the center. The stone is hot and the wax is hot. It should be centered on the stick. it is centered. This blob of dopping wax is not centered, but it's centered. Now you can see the area that I screwed up. Now drying it off, I've polished it. And there's the result. Pretty nice stone. It's pretty close to 8 by 10, and that's the setting that I have chosen for it. Okay, let's get back to the final steps of the dopping process. First, I want to show the advantage of having this stainless steel. You can see that there's spots of and that cleans it off pretty well. That was not one of my big secrets. This last one is, though. The best way, I'd like to say that the best way to remove a stone from a dop stick is to put it in your freezer. Make sure you put it in some sort of vessel so that when the stone drops off, it doesn't drop into your freezer and get mixed in with the taquitos or the frozen peas. So that's the best way. Put it in your freezer and wait probably half an hour, 45 minutes, an hour, and it will drop off and you'll be fine. Okay, my final secret is super cold freeze spray. There are sprays out there that don't get this cold, minus 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Spraying it on the sealing wax, but I found that it didn't really matter. With a thin stone like this, the heat removed from it, in other words, it getting cold, occurs rapidly, but it's very thin, and so that happens to the entire stone. You'll watch. It'll sort of frost over. And you shouldn't spray continuously. You should wait and then freeze again. Just short bursts are really desirable. It's best to catch those drops since that's the cooling material. So this is very cold, so I should be able to lift it off. So that's secret number 3. That's all I have on dopping. If you have comments or criticisms, I'm sure I'll get a lot of both, but that's the way I do it. And one last thing is they sell these pots that you put a bunch of dopping wax in, and it keeps it melted, and it's got a little holder for your sticks in it. I used that for quite a while. That is not a substitute for an alcohol lamp. To me, the dopping wax does not get hot enough to stick to the stone well enough to survive all the grinding. And there's almost nothing worse than having a stone pop off a dop stick. That's a nightmare. So that's all for now. Thanks for watching. Questions or comments are welcome. I'll try to get to all of them. And thanks for your support. See you next time.